Good afternoon, South Africa. My name is Anthony Hall. I'm the founder and chairperson of the RAEL organization. I'm the founder of World Addiction Day. I'm the founder of RAEL Orange Friday, an awareness campaign. Those organizations were founded in 2009 and 2015, respectively. I greet you on a eve of a new year, of a very distressing year for all South Africans and for people globally. I'd like to welcome my friends overseas from various countries to this little broadcast of the year that was. It was tremendously sad to see families losing jobs. It was tremendously sad to see families losing loved ones and not being able to bury them properly. It was tremendously sad to see that families lost their main breadwinner or both their breadwinners, that food wasn't able to be put on the table for Christmas and the days before and the days afterwards. It is very sad that we have witnessed one of the greatest crimes in South African history, the theft of the 500 billion rand plus by the government led by Cyril Ramaphosa. We have witnessed a crime against humanity by the South African government led by Cyril Ramaphosa. The disgusting way that they have repeated and repeatedly treated the South African citizens is nothing short of disgusting. The 500 billion was meant to be and supposed to be to help with the COVID Chinese virus, which did not happen. Sadly, we have also seen that the government has not taken the lead in law and order. Law and order and the name of the South African police service has never been at such an ultimate low as it is today. We have seen so many policemen arrested for corruption, arrested for murder, and arrested for various other crimes while under the watch of the Minister of Police, Becky Cele. The vicious way in which government has put down crackdowns, put down lockdowns, and only targeted certain sections of the community bears witness to 1994, when Cyril Ramaphosa mentioned and said, the way to get rid of the whites is to boil the frog. I'm sure white South Africans this year have felt like the frog. I'm sure we've been treated like the frog. And I'm sure we've all realized that the heat of the pot has been turned up on the white South Africans of this country. We will, however, never relent. We will never surrender. We will never give in. We will never give up in our bid to make this country a country where our children and our children's children can live in peace and in harmony. The government, under the watch of Cyril Ramaphosa, has failed the people, and mainly the colored people, with respect to housing, sewerage, and water. The government has let illegal immigrants into our country, into the country of South Africa, and those illegal immigrants without papers have had a better life than most of our South African citizens. South Africa has suffered this year with our hospitals being overcrowded and in a state of disrepair and filth. I want to commend at this stage the doctors and the nurses and the staff of hospitals who've had to work under such demanding circumstances in order, A, to save the lives of South Africans, and B, to earn an income of which they studied for. Furthermore, I'd like to go further to say the South African government under Cyril Ramaphosa has forced South African sport to become a scapegoat for apartheid. South African sport is now used as a political tool to further break the white and colored people of this country and Indian. It is being used as a divisive apartheid strategy force that no white person or very few white people will ever have the opportunity to represent their country. Ladies and gentlemen, on this eve of a new year that we know is not going to be an easy year coming up, the South African government has failed in such a way that locking up people on beaches and locking up people while they're walking in parks is more important than getting rid of the criminals that prowl our streets. The South African Police Services has put methods in place that people will be arrested and fined, and comments have come from community safety ministers and from Minister Chelly that there is enough space in prisons for people not wearing masks. It is evident that the South African government want to make scapegoats of the white people. The white people, and may I add the colored people, have never been under so much attack as they are now. The disgraceful behavior by the EFF under Julius Malema at Brackenfell School was nothing short of an attempt to violate and brutalize the very children that attend Brackenfell High School. South Africa this year has shortly shown a lack of leadership, a lack of elected leadership from the premiers of the different provinces, including Premier Alan Windey, who's been absent most of the time, and Mayor Dan Plato, who we have not seen in a time where we needed leaders to come out, whether it's on social media, in public or on TV, and assure the South African nation that we'll be okay. We have seen a degradation of old age homes. We have seen the passing away of people in old age homes without a funeral. We have seen, according to sources, the way the morgues look and are not investigated in South Africa. We have seen the absolute demise of morals, respect, value and discipline in the country of South Africa. We have seen a total lack of love in South Africa. I'm of the firm belief that with the theft of these billions, plus the other trillions that have been stolen by the South African government, they should be charged in the International Court of The Hague for genocide. The South African government have slowly been instrumental in the death and degradation of our once proud nation that we lived side by side and one for all. The legacy of Nelson Mandela, who spent 28 years in prison, has sadly been lost to the African National Congress. The African National Congress is no longer the governing party of South Africa. It's a bunch of mafia thugs who think they can break the backbone of law-abiding white, colored, Indian and black citizens. This will never be allowed, as there are people in this country who are willing to take up any measures what it is to protect ourselves and to protect our loved ones, protect our elderly, and mainly protect our little children. The South African government and Department of Social Development have failed in their task to curb addiction. We do not have enough government-funded rehabs. We do not have enough counseling sessions for addicts. We do not have enough political will and police management to arrest drug dealers from Nigeria, from Somalia, from Ethiopia, and the local drug dealers. There is no political will to clear South Africa of these alien invasions, illegal alien invasions, who are coming in and using our children and are predators to our children and supplying drugs to our children and others. The South African government have made no effort in this year to clean up the roads, to fill the potholes. But there was a concentrated effort this year by the South African government to kill in various ways the South African white man. As we enter 2021, my message to Ramaphosa and Cheli and Zuma is that don't for 1 minute think, and I'd like you to hear me very clearly on this point, my fellow South Africans, because I can call you fellow South Africans, because you are my fellow South Africans. Don't for 1 minute think we are going to roll over and we're going to die in the face of an onslaught of a once proud ANC that has been reduced to a money-making machine for a couple of people, while the citizens of this country are in pain, are in anger, and are in sorrow for those they lost. We will face 2021 as a combined force of South Africans under the grace, leadership, power of Jesus Christ, of God. God will never desert us. He will never betray us. He will never leave us. And He will never forsake us. We will make South Africa great. We will stand tall in the face of the onslaught of the Chinese virus. We will pray that the doctors and the nurses do all they can to keep people with the Chinese virus alive. I want to thank South Africans who have played such a tumultuous role in keeping this country on its feet during the last 12 months of 2020. I'd like to thank Neil de Beer of the UIM for wanting to be the change and hoping that you will be the change in a South Africa that's going to take a long time to repair. But we're not going to fall and roll. I'd like to thank all those who supported the farm murders, the people at Senekal, the people at Henneman, all those who helped fight the fires of the Free State that were devastating, and we never saw a government vehicle. I'd like to thank the human beings, the citizens of South Africa, die volk van Suid-Afrika, wat opgestaan het, en die mense van die Vrystaat en van die Noord-Kaap gaan help het, soos meneer Jakkie ensovoorts, gaan gehelp het om 'n verskil te maak in die lewens van die plase wat was onder druk van moorde en van vure. We did not see the South African government there. I'd like to thank our people in various positions in small business and big business that tried your utmost under difficult trying circumstances to keep your doors open so people could have employment and have food on the table. I salute you for what you've done. I would like to thank our learners who showed, minus 1 or 2 cases, extreme patience in this difficult year. I'd like to thank the teachers for the momentous roles you played in teaching our learners in the circumstances that were most difficult and a first of its kind in the Republic of South Africa. I want to thank the firemen, I want to thank the traffic police, and I want to thank the law-abiding South African Police Service members for all you have done in keeping what is left of a South African police force and a traffic force up to the high standards that you, gentlemen and women, attain to. I'd like to thank various people. I'd like to thank Mayor Antoinette Steyn of the Breda Valley, who has always held this valley. She's my mayor, my local mayor, who has held this valley up and led it from the front in a most difficult year. You have stood proud, Mayor, and I salute you for standing proud in the face of adversity and the face of hate. You have served your people well, Mayor Antoinette Steyn. I'd like to thank Janita Everson and her husband Andre on a personal note, who have looked after the dogs of the Breda Valley, who have taken them in at their own expense, who have unfortunately not got the tender, and have looked after dogs in all ways of just protection and times when they needed stitches. These people were at the forefront of the battle that has stretched from the human being to our animals, which is disgraceful. Thank you, Janita and Andre, for doing this for our animals. And last but not least, I'd like to thank the RAEL organization's staff and supporters. We stretch now something to 500,000 plus on various walls of support and lights, etc. I'd like to thank my mom, the Queen, the Rock, who is here, my attorney, Alton Shortless, who arranged that I could get my mother out of the old age home 9 months ago. I thank you, sir, and I'll be forever indebted to you. I'd like to thank my sister Leslie, who is back here and living here with us and performing a big role as the house mother. I'd like to thank my manager Kurt, my CEO Kurt. Kurt Schuller. I'd like to thank Graham van Rensburg for driving me around the country 8 times this year. 8 times in the last 7 years. In the last 7 months. That cost us, of our own money, hundreds of thousands of rands. I'd love to thank Angus, Malchus, and Lincoln Desmore for looking after my mom so beautifully and diligently. I'd like to thank Auntie Letty Malchus, who cared and cooked for 35 boys every single day. There are people I'd like to thank, as well as the doc, who has looked after the people here mostly free of charge, with her medical degree helping people in addiction free of charge. I would like to thank my ex-wife Karen for building up the RAEL organization and leaving a legacy that cannot be challenged, a legacy that is unchallengeable for what she has done for addicts in general. I'd like to thank the people that have got on board, that are going to support our new project, which is a kibbutz-style project where a small fee will be paid and people can become self-sufficient. People can work on the farm. There will be different panel beating, woodwork, knitting, sewing, and on 15 hectares we can make our own town. And that's why RAEL has always been called RAEL Sober City. I'd like to thank Anna-Marie Driver and her boyfriend John. I'd like to thank Wendy Ace. I'd like to thank Ellis. I think it was, I forgot the name there now, but I'll get back to it. It's not Eleanor, it's Ellis, sorry Sorry about that. And to Wendy Ace for helping us last night to begin the fund of that dream, which is a kilometer down from us, that we can start off this farm so we can take the people off the streets that the government don't care about, that we can feed the people that the government don't care about. I thank you, Ellen, for your contribution. Words are not enough, but the action will be seen. As we approach 2011, I want to thank God for those of us that are still around here. I want to thank God that we are, by the grace of God, still healthy. And I want to ask God to protect the families of those who lost loved ones and could not go and visit loved ones during this time of uncertainty, corruption, and totalitarianism from the South African government. Friends, in parting, I wish you and your loved ones the most beautiful 2021. And knowing with the power of God, we will overcome anything in this world. And my last message, I ask and I beg for the church ministers to rise up and make your voice heard so people can see that God is still alive, that God is still preached, God is still in South Africa. Otherwise, we have given in to the devil and nothing else. God bless you, my fellow South Africans, for 2021 and all your loved ones. In Jesus' name, amen.